I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat.
This is Ben with Olson's Hi-Fi. I'm here this week with the KEF LS50 META. The META is the replacement for the venerated LS50, which is one of the most award-winning speakers in speaker history. Some things that jump out about this speaker immediately is that it just sounds bigger than the previous LS50. The LS50 had a very specific monitor sound, and while these are still a monitor, a studio monitor style speaker, they definitely sound like a larger bookshelf speaker. I mean, these compare very much with the KEF R3. Another thing of note with this speaker is people complained a little bit on the original LS50 that there could be a little fatigue. And so I don't know how the magical wizards over at KEF managed to do this, but this speaker is more detailed and less fatiguing. They definitely have detail and warmth, a little more spaciousness and depth than the previous LS50. So I don't know how Jack Osley Brown pulled this off, but he did, and so kudos to him. During our music listening, we did the majority of the listening without a subwoofer. And I like subs. I like having a subwoofer, paired with even towers. I'm kind of a bass guy, but I'll say if you just have a small listening room, it wouldn't necessarily, be required to have a sub. I mean, you could definitely get away with these. These things do punch down quite low. And they do it without distortion or vibration. If you just feel these things, the build quality of these things and the bracing, they just feel like little beasts. They are solid little bricks of speaker. Very, very impressive on the build quality, as KEF is as usual. We listen to these speakers using a variety of different amplifiers. The Parasound Hint 6, a couple NAD products, Prima Luna Evo 100 integrated tube amplifier, and a Marantz 7000N, and then for the fun of it, just a Denon, I think it's the PM800. And that's another takeaway from the speakers, that the previous generation of LS50 was a $1,500 speaker, right? But it's like you had to put a $2,500 amp behind it to make it do what it does. And I'm not sure what they've changed or what they've done, but we can play these now with like relatively cheap amplifiers. These don't have the requirement for a really expensive amplifier like the previous generation did. These things sounded actually pretty good on the Denon PM800. I think that's like a $400 or $500 integrated amp. So you can start with some entry-level electronics to get your system going, and these will perform well. So I mentioned I did a lot of listening without subwoofers, but when we paired this with the KC62 and the REL T7i, these act and sound much more like tower speakers. These blended with those subs quite well, and so you can have a really legit hi-fi system with this size of speaker and just a decent small subwoofer. The REL T7i costs a little bit less than the KC62, but I will say the KC62 did blend perfectly with these. They were just a match made in heaven. I gotta say that these speakers have really impressed me, and I actually really like them. But do not take my word for it. Come down to Olson's Hi-Fi and have us plug these in for you. You gotta listen to them. Thank you.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat. I gotta hit